Alright, so today we're going to take a look at the 3D dual UEFI BIOS that's on the Gigabyte X79-UD5. As you can see, that's 3D because you get a 3D image of the board, and it's supposed to have quick access functions. You just pretty much hover your mouse over whatever you're looking for, and you can click on it and go straight into whatever system that you're talking about. Everything from your system tuning to power, peripherals, this one's interesting, miscellaneous BIOS feature controls, and then of course your drive controls. You can do pretty much the same thing if you go down here to the bottom where you have your BIOS features, peripheral, power management. You can also rotate the board, make it a little easier to see or get to what you want. Just kind of an interesting feel to it. And of course we'll get right into it. When you click on this, this is of course your I/O ports. You're going to get your rear panel. You're going to see your Gigabyte SATA controller, how it's run, the audio device, if it's enabled, USB functions, they're all right there. Again, same thing with your system tuning. This is going to be almost identical to what you have in your motherboard intelligent tuning, but it's just going to be slimmed down and a little bit easier access. You have your tab features here, memory timing for your different banks here. This is going to be C and D, you have A and B, then of course your major voltages are going to be right inside here. Frequency controls are obviously on the first page. Looking at your 3D power, again you have your phase controls, which will allow you to control the power management that's going on through here and the phases that it runs at. This can be very vital for ensuring that you have stability at high clock speeds. And of course you have your voltage controls as well. These are some in addition to the ones that we saw when we were looking at CPU tuning. You have your current protection, the way the current is running through the system for your different subsystems. Then of course your thermal. This is your thermal protection. You can adjust this back and forth to make sure that when you run this, you're going to have the best thermal protection. Now, one thing you may notice is every time I open up one of these, you get a little sidebar. Now these are great, and of course you can click on some of these. However, the problem is that your major window is over top of it, and if you click on it, it's not going to bring it to the front. So it's a little bit obscured. It's a nice thought, but it doesn't tend to work out in practice unless you want to move something around and then take a look at it. It would be nice if there was a way to bring that up all on its own. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find one. Again, moving through here, this is going to be your virtualization technology, your virtualization for drive, full screen logo, all of those things. And pretty much just the long and the short of it is these are quick and easy functions that you can get in just to directly hit those pieces that you want to touch. When you go into something like your motherboard intelligent tweaker, this is going to give you all of the pieces that you're used to inside Gigabyte's normal BIOS. Here's your MIT status. Again, you see everything fill out just like you were used to in Gigabyte's older BIOS. One of the things that you may notice is that there's a little bit of a lag when you click on something. It takes it a couple of seconds sometimes, and there's also the option you have to double click, or you may need to hit your page up and page down to move back and forth through the different functions. We found this to be a little disconcerting in that we wanted to control things directly from the mouse or using the scroll, but we weren't able to. We were back to having to use page up and page down to maneuver through the BIOS on many occasions. This is going to be a little bit of an annoyance to somebody who's looking to get in and overclock something a little very quickly. So again, moving through this, we'll move back from the advanced frequency settings to advanced memory. You have, like, once again, these are all the same settings that you would find in one of ASUS's normal BIOSes. It's nothing that's going to be out of the ordinary. As you can see there, we had another problem trying to get into it. Sometimes it can be difficult to actually get the mouse pointer directly on what you want to select, which again can be frustrating, although it's not terrible and it's definitely not a deal breaker for what you get inside these BIOSes. So let's move on. We'll take a look at the system. Again, this is the same kind of information that you would have if you were looking at this BIOS in the older traditional, more the AMI BIOS type feature. Here's your BIOS features, your different options, your boot options 1 and 2, virtualization technology. These are all the exact same features that we saw, just in more of a traditional BIOS layout is when we were playing around with the actual 3D BIOS interface. Again, here's your peripherals, everything in here. You can move into your Marvel controller, get everything set up. Now, one of the nice things about moving to the X79 is the default is AHCI, the Advanced Host Controller Interface. This is nice. It's a much more efficient, cleaner one. It operates very well with Windows 7. It's great for SSDs. The whole works. It's just a much better to have this as the default than have to always switch it from legacy up to this feature. Again, here's power management. You have a lot of the same things, and you have your wake on LAN, all the other options in here, power on, resume by alarm. You know, pretty much not anything that would be out of the ordinary for a normal BIOS. You're just going to have it in here. So let's take a look, and of course, in getting out, you can load and save different profiles. These are going to be for overclocking. It pretty much gives you a nice overview of the BIOS. Again, you have some quick function keys that are great. They're over here listed on the side. If you want to go back to your 3D mode, you just hit F1 and you're going to be back into the 3D mode. If you want to get back into that, you just click on your option. You have your previous values, optimized defaults, Q flash is integrated into this as well, which is nice. Gigabyte has been doing that for quite a while, where you can flash from a USB key or a floppy, or even from a CD-ROM if you want to go so far as to burn a couple of megabyte file onto a CD-ROM itself. You have system information, which pretty much gives you some of the same information that you find in the MIT status page. Save and exit, and of course now they've even integrated a print screen function, which is a nice feature, kind of following what ASUS was doing before in their UEFI BIOS. You do have to have a FAT32 formatted flash drive. It will not work with NTFS or any other kind of file formatting. You place that in there before you boot up, it detects the drive, and then when you do, your print screen is going to print a bitmap or .bmp file, which is going to be pretty large, so you'll have to manipulate if you want to send this across the internet or post it up for anybody else. Because again, it is going to be a large file, just because bitmaps are exactly what they say. They're a bitmap of the entire screen. It's not like a JPEG where you get that compression. So bear that in mind if you want to take a bunch of screenshots of your BIOS and go ahead and send them to somebody. You may exceed your email limit. So that about wraps it up for what we've got inside the Gigabyte 3D BIOS here on the X79-UD5. We're going to be getting into testing this, throwing some of our performance tests at it, and of course, as always, overclocking it to see exactly what we can get out of this board. And once we're done with that, we'll go ahead and report back to you.